Being pretty is not the purpose, it's literally the cherry on top. We live in a world that celebrates beauty, curated feeds, perfect faces, and polished routines. And I'm not here to shame that. I love beauty. I value aesthetic, and I honor presentation. But lately, I've had to ask myself, is my image louder than my anointing? Because if the light on me is brighter than the light within me, then I've missed it. And today, I want to talk about what it means to show up beautiful without idolizing image. The difference between aesthetic and anointing. But let me say this clearly, beauty is not the problem, okay? God created beauty. He designed color, symmetry, adornment. And Proverbs 31 talks about fine linen and purple, Esther prepared with oil and fragrance. So there's nothing wrong with wanting to show up well. But we have to ask, is beauty serving us or are we serving it? Because aesthetic without alignment leads to anxiety. And when we prioritize polish over presence, we lose the weight of who we are. This message hits home for me because it's something that I have personally wrestled with. I used to think that my power came from being put together. I felt like if I didn't look the part, then I wouldn't be taken seriously. Not as a woman, not as a creator, and not even as a believer. I have always felt like my looks was a big part of my worth. And that if I was not looking my best, then I was not of value. And I know that sounds terrible to hear, but it was my truth. It was my reality. There was a season where I wouldn't film unless my hair was laid. My skin was glowing. My background looked perfect. But I remember one day, God just checked me. He said, "You're dressing for their attention, but not my assignment." And that messed me up because it reminded me that the anointing on my life doesn't need editing. And ever since I've been learning to let beauty support the message and not silence it. Because I would often, like I said, just, if I'm not perfect, if I'm not put together, then I would, how do I say this? Limit myself, hide myself, not do the things that God was calling me to do, deliberately being disobedient because I didn't feel like I looked the part, if that makes sense. But let's define this clearly, okay? The anointing is God's presence on your life for a purpose. It's not just gifting, it's not just charisma, it's not the aesthetic, it's the power to do what He has called you to do. And the enemy doesn't care how pretty you look. Being pretty is not the purpose, it's literally the cherry on top. What the enemy is afraid of is what you carry. And the moment you start confusing applause for approval, pretty for purpose, then the enemy will let you stay polished as long as you stay powerless. As long as you stop using your voice, as long as you continue to be disobedient and not do whatever it is you've been called to do. And the goal is not to abandon beauty. It's to make sure that beauty stays in its place, right? Beauty should always point back to God, the one who created you, not the algorithm that consumes you. You can be stunning and surrendered. You can be polished and still powerful. But if it ever comes down to choosing one, you should always choose obedience. Always choose to do the thing that God is calling you to do, regardless of how you look or how you feel you look. Like, look at me right now. Look at me right now. Preaching in my bathroom, looking a hot mess. But believe it or not, it's what I was called to do, so I'm doing it. So, how do you know when a aesthetic has become an idol? Take a moment to ask yourself these questions. Do I feel worthy when I'm not done up? Am I delaying my obedience until I look ready? Am I more focused on being seen than being sent? Those questions aren't for shame, they're for clarity, because clarity protects your calling. God isn't asking you to dim your beauty, He's asking you not to bow to it. You are allowed to be beautiful, elegant, well groomed, and intentional. But don't let your aesthetic drown out your anointing. Because what's on you may attract people, but what's in you is what's going to transform them. If you've ever felt torn between presenting well and honoring God, I hope this helped you find peace in the middle. God doesn't want you to erase your beauty. He just wants you to lead with Him. So comment below if this resonated and let me know what's one way you're choosing purpose over performance this week. Until next Soulful Sunday, keep glowing, but don't forget who lit the flame.